Hello.
You alright? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You got a bit quiet though for some reason. I don't know if it's... Oh, have you moved your mic?
Oh yeah, hold on. I'm on a different microphone. I can throw this microphone back over here. Cool.
That's better. I can hear you fine now.
Good evening.
Mark's already gone on and commented on that comment that we got left.
Did he? And what did he say?
He's been very Mark about it, so very sensible.
Okay.
Not done like something that I would put, which is like fuck off or something.
Fair
I
enough.
appreciate your point of view and cheers for the feedback. I'm happy about how we approached it, and I believe the learning process can be as valuable as presenting what you already know. Which is very sensible.
That was very diplomatic.
Yeah, I was going to write, I can speak from a position of authority when I can say homework's for suckers.
Good evening. I've got Tony here with me from the Three Grots on a Vox channel. I'm going to try and get you on my screen. 1 second, Tony. Display capture. I think this is what I need. Nope, I need a window capture. But you are there. Oh, you're
Hello,
there.
people.
Let me remove that.
I'm being quiet.
You drinking tonight?
I'm being boring today. I'm just on like a can of Brewdog lager.
Brewdog.
I like Brewdog. It's a bit... These days...
It's a bit controversial though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there's been all that trouble about the like treatment of workers and things like that lately, hasn't there?
Yeah, there has indeed. It seems like that just is more and more common these days, that people don't know how to treat people properly, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to be decent to people, but whatever.
What can you do?
Cool, there you are. Are you painting tonight, or are you just chilling?
I am, yeah, I am. Actually, I'm going to do some... well, you've seen... people have seen the video, hopefully, from today, where we talk about that stupid list that I built. And, well, I've got the model, so there's my Telemon.
Nice.
And a man with a Vexilla. And Trajan.
And Trajan Valoris. Definitely not overpowered, is he?
He's not overpowered, but he's way undercosted.
I suppose that's one way to look at it, yeah.
I don't know why they dropped his points.
Because reasons.
But
Brendan
yeah,
says, hey, just want to thank you for everything you do in this channel. I just recently started 40k and I'm now devoted Blood Angels player. Love the tier videos and the gameplay tips. Well, thank you very much, Brendan. That is very nice. That is a complete polar opposite comment that we just got on our podcast channel that told us, what was it? It was like, if you're going to do a video about something, do more homework.
Yeah.
So for every...
We don't do homework. I'm a teacher. I don't do it. I set it.
For every one nice comment like that, we have to have one that it's like you must bring balance to the force. So that was a very nice comment, Brendan. Thank you. Who said that? I don't know. Someone just said that over on our live. It was the one comment we have on the podcast episode that just went live, I guess. Someone said that we needed to do more homework. I thought we did a good amount of homework. I was pleased with the slides and
a lot of homework on that.
I obviously played against Andrew's Custodes, so I knew what I was dealing with, and oh well, you win some and you lose some, I guess.
Yep. No Resial, no green screen today because this is an unplanned stream.
Yeah, I was just getting on and just asking if Tony wanted to join me. Sometimes.
So this is actually just the back wall of my little office. So I've got a picture, I've got a Gantt chart, I've got my lab coat.
Nice. Didn't actually notice your lab coat till you mentioned it. Am I getting ready for a Custodes match? I don't know when I'm rematching the Custodes. I'm actually really upset that I lost to the Necrons this week. Such a close game, but yeah, double Catan is always difficult to deal with, I guess.
Do you remember when we put triple Catan in that stupid episode we did on overpowered shit, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I've never actually fought triple Catan.
I think it's a meme.
But
I've actually good list.
I fought double Catan a few times now, and it's always difficult. He played really smart, though. Like, once I started wearing down the Catan, he just hid one of them in a really nice defensive posture, and it was really difficult for me to fight into it, I guess. So
It was really well played, actually. Not to take anything away at all. He played really well there.
Who, the Necron player?
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost had him, like, the odds on that last final attack, or with I have a Redemptor with a Chain Fist with 6 attacks against a 4 wound Necron character with a 4-up save on every single other day of the week. He murders him and I win the game. Right?
Yep.
So, he did play well, but like,
it's still annoying to lose against Necrons, although they're definitely stronger than they were.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they're a bit stronger than they were. The points cost changes, not too much changed in his list, but he got core and a few more things, and a few more things went down in points. So I'm waiting for the points changes for Blood Angels, really. Hey Jeff, how you doing? Brendan says, what can he say? He's got to bring balance to the Force. Thank you, Brendan, for bringing balance. I appreciate it. And thanks for following and your kind comments about the channel. If you haven't seen our podcast, we just aired the 8th episode of our podcast. It's called 3 Grots. I think if you just search YouTube now for 3 Grots, I think we're getting to a point where like we will just be the top search.
Yeah, I think so.
YouTube has finally realised that we actually regularly release content, and we're building the podcast as well. So the podcast is way less serious than this channel, I guess. We're just trying to have fun in the 40k universe.
We're very serious. We take a lot of pride and care in our research. Nobody just makes shit up. It's not just swearing and drinking for 2 hours.
Living Ghost says, I fully support the long shot potential of you bringing in the super heavy tank that might have turned the tables. Super heavy tanks are going to be super difficult to field now, right? Because of like the Tau's plasma blast cannon and the Tau's ability to ignore invulnerable saves, and the fact that cannon does like 12 damage. I think what is going to change with the meta, Tony, do you think? Do you think that is armor? Are we going to just see a reduction of armor because of Tau?
I think we're going to see a reduction of slow armor. We're not seeing a lot of slow armor anyway. And although Tau are really, really powerful, the slow stuff that's armor is Dreadnoughts, really. And that's so good against Custodes, who are the other sort of top tier army at the moment. So I don't think it's going to change up lists too much. We weren't seeing those kind of like mega tank lists anyway.
No, we definitely weren't, were we? We were complaining on our tier list video that armor just
sucks ass.
It needs something, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like Storm Surges are really powerful, but you can always see them and they can't see you if you're behind a building.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing, I suppose. I was actually surprised that Storm Surges are good in melee combat. He killed a couple of my Vanguard veterans with them. I did not realise that they could stop.
It's only got about 3 attacks, hasn't it?
Yeah, 3 attacks.
3
but
attacks
I mean,
hitting on 5s.
They are strength 8. They are minus 2 and 2 damage, you know?
It's no knight,
so, no, that's true. Reserves are great. Yeah, I mean, reserves are great, but you don't want them against Necrons. Last 3 Necrons I've played on TTS have been by like 20 points. I mean, I should have beaten the Necron player on Monday night. Like I said, on any other... If I'd been thinking about that really objectively, like, I just assumed my Dreadnought was killing that character. If I'd been thinking about that and I'd been playing at a tournament, what I could have actually done is I could have fallen my Assault Intercessor back, then I would have obsec the objective away from him, even if the Terminator didn't kill the character. So I could have actually got a draw, because I'd have lost 1 CP if I'd fallen back, but it would have held that objective, which was worth 2 points at the end of the battle. So it would have been a draw. So I mean, like, that's my own fault, right? Like, I guess what it proves, there was 2 things that game on Monday proved. One of the things was like, you should never surrender, because I was like 50 victory points behind and I came with a gnat's width of winning it. So regardless of how many points you are behind, you should never surrender. And I very nearly almost did in like turn 2 or something. I was like, wow, I cannot get back into this game. And then the second thing is, you should never trust the averages, I guess, because like I said, on any other day, the Dreadnought crushes that character and I win the game, but because he didn't, there was still a way for me to at least get a draw if I'd been smart and fallen the character back. So, 2 things to learn. Don't give up, and...
don't get cocky?
Yeah, don't I don't know if it was cocky, was it? I mean,
You
like
were a little bit, because you discounted Necrons as being a major threat because you've beaten them so many times.
yeah, it's probably a valid point. Yeah.
Just looking at Peter, we've just literally released a video on how to deal with Custodes. Like, it came out an hour ago.
Oh yeah, Peter.
On the Free Grots channel. But basically, bring lots of toughness 8 and shoot the shit out of them.
Can I link our podcast episode in the chat?
I don't know, maybe. I can't. Although I'm a mod, it won't let me post links.
Okay, well, I need to fix that at some point. I trust you enough to post the link.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, so I'm going to... My OnlyFans channel.
Alright, here's Peter. This link, I think it'll work. But that is literally episode 8 of the podcast. It's quite a long video. It's like 2 hours, and you have to be ready really for it patient. Because we talk a lot of BS in our podcast. We jump around and we talk about everything. So it's a fun one. But if you're struggling with Custodes, then I mean we talk over lots of things.
I feel it was a reasonable primer on getting started with your Custodes. I don't feel bad about that video. I quite enjoyed making it. And I'm building that list. I'm literally building that list as we speak. This is my brush and my oil paints as I oil paint this model.
Reziel is telling me that I rely too much on the math, but that's probably why. Like, I have a really one of the comments we got on the podcast channel was like, what is Blood Angels Commander's win rate at tournaments this year, right? Like, someone legitimately was like calling me out, like, what is your competitive win rate? And I was like, it's 80%. Every tournament I went to, I won 4 and lost 1. So, winning 8 out of 10 games, I guess, I'm pretty happy with that. It would be nice if I could win them all, but yeah, it's pretty fucking difficult to do. So, the reason I win a lot of games is because I don't make moves or charges if I don't think I can kill stuff, right? I try and at least if I'm going to charge something, I want to know, like, all right, well, at least I'm going to do this much damage and it's going to profile it or something, or as opposed to just like, hey, that looks like a good charge, let's do it,
The maths isn't everything, but I do think it's a good starting point.
Yeah, I think it's the best starting point, because, I mean, I'd say, like, what, 80% of the time the maths is accurate? There's always going to be swings in a dice-based game, but I would say, like, I'd say 80% of the time the dice are pretty reliable in what you expect.
Yeah.
DTM says maths is truth. Do we need to get a t-shirt made that says math is life?
I'm a physics teacher, so I'm not going to lie. I definitely agree with that sentiment.
What, math is life?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, life, but certainly truth.
Math is truth.
Don't argue with the maths is kind of something that I have to say to a lot of students.
So what are you painting tonight anyway, Tony?
Well, I've got in front of me, I've got Trajan.
Oh yeah.
I've got I've got one of the Telemons, and I've got this Vexilla, and I'm doing a bit of oil painting just to do it, because I wanted them to be gold because they're fabulous golden bananas, but it's a bit boring on its own.
Yeah, it can be.
So I've gone with a bit of like purple shading to them to try and put a little bit of interest in there, and then I'm using oils to give it a little bit of definition and just bring out a little bit of detail.
Nice.
So I'm just giving it a little oil pin wash, and that'll be my goal for the night.
The percentage based on whatever the percentage is. The percentage is based on whatever the percentage is. Yeah, I mean, it's so... I think it's... I've been playing 40k basing my gameplay on maths now for as long as... Like... Do you know what probably started me digging more competitively into the math? Was because, like, Andrew was my fucking... He wasn't my next door neighbour, but he lived one house away. So it was like my house, some other person's house, then Andrew's house. And we played 40k in Andrew's garage all the damn time. And you've seen the lists Andrew brings. He just tried to bring the most broken, overpowered models that you could get his hands on. So if I didn't do a lot of maths, I would generally lose.
Rezi, was it you that made the comment that Andrew's going to steal my list?
Why? Because it's strong.
Because I spam Terminators in, I think.
Speaking of Custodes, mathematically, Marine Dreadnoughts are not actually that durable against Custodes lists. For example, 3 Predators, 1 Shot or Redemptor, or an Ironclad between shooting and charging. Yeah, I mean, the Custodes Dreadnoughts, I think, are very competitively costed right now. So,
very good.
I haven't dug too deeply into the Custodes stances, right? And we didn't dig too deeply into them on our actual podcast episode. We were talking more about like their general strengths and stuff. The Dreadnoughts and that get all the stances and get all the options. Like it's just everything in the army that gets that stuff.
Trajan, which is weird because most of the time when you've got a Supreme Commander, they don't benefit from things like that.
Okay. But Trajan gets it all as well, does he?
Yeah. Which is really powerful depending on what one you use. I mean, the stances is quite a neat system. So you pick 3 of them, your primary, tertiary, and primary, secondary, tertiary, and you choose the order they're going to be in. And then each stance has got 2 like mini stances to it, which have 2 different benefits.
Yeah.
And you can start off on either one you like, and you can chop and change. You can skip it, or you can move on to the next one. So you've got stance 1, stance 2. So it's very powerful if you plan ahead.
Yeah.
So if you know, for example, that in probably about turn 3, I'm going to be hitting load of Dreadnoughts, well, then you pick the stance that says I'm going to ditch 1 damage and have an extra attack.
Yeah.
And if you timed it right, then that comes into play just as you hit the Dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
And if you time it wrong, it comes into play just after you hit the Dreadnoughts and they've munched you.
Yeah.
So it really rewards being very careful and planning things out and thinking it through. And I like that.
I actually really like that as well. I think that's what Reziel's trying to say in chat. He's trying to say that, I use my skill in the game to then use the math to benefit. And I think that's fair to say. But like, I want to say that like. I've been playing Blood Angels exclusively now. Completely exclusively. Like, I haven't played a single game as another army. Toasty Devil coming in with a $2 super chat. But he didn't even leave a message, Toasty Devil. Thank you for the $2. But seriously, if you're going to do a super chat, at least make me say something. It can be anything you want. You just need to write a message.
Wildly inappropriate.
Yes, it could have been wildly inappropriate. You could have even said, Tony, what you doing here? Get back to your own channel. I mean, you could have said anything you want, but thank you. No, I really appreciate the $2. I think you say that I'm a skilled player, which I appreciate, Reziel. Don't get me wrong, right? But like on that game against Necrons on Monday night, like I struggled. Like, I guess it's like the enemy you know or the devil you know, right? Like I haven't played against 2 Catans. I think I've only actually played 1 other game or 2 other games where I play against 2 Catans. I didn't have the experience, so as much as it is maybe like strategy and planning, I think experience is actually really, really important in 40k, right? Like, because your opponents have so many rules, and I think Mark said that a couple of times, like on the Grotz channel, is like one of the ways to get good at this game is like you start by mastering your own army. Then you start by mastering everybody else's, right? Because you need to know everything you're going to fight against. So I guess like, not entirely sure. I think like mastering your own army, knowing the math for your own army, and that could be done with experience. Like you could do the same thing where like in the past you've charged 10 Sanguinary Guard into a unit and you've not done very well. Mortarion is a good example. You've charged 10 Sanguinary Guard on Mortarion and you did like 5 wounds and Mortarion killed them all.
But that's still doing the maths. Now it might be anecdotal maths because you just remember that when you charged in 5 Sanguinary Guard they did fuck all. But it's still the maths. It's still because when you dig into it, oh right, yeah, it's because when you do it they actually will only do, 2 hits each. They're only going to wound with 1 of those. They're only going to do 4 wounds or whatever. But that, whether it's from I've done this before and know it's shit, or I've done the maths and I'm not even going to try it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
You don't need to be sitting there doing those calculations because you already know that.
Well, yeah, I guess experience can trump the maths, but you'd have to play a lot to get the experience. Tarek, I hope I'm saying your name right. Tarek says, what do you think of castling up a Judicaar, sorry, with Voxa Spiritum and suppressing the Virtus Praetors, that's the bikes, right? Yep. To prevent the charging in early. Also, what could help is Hellblasters and Inceptors. Well, we actually, when we talked about this on the Grots channel, we actually pinpointed Inceptors as a really good unit for killing Custodes bikes.
Are really quite good against them.
Yeah, that's probably
not bad either. But the problem with Hellblasters is they're a bit crap at everything else. So if you're like list tailoring, then yeah, absolutely, you want as many damage 3 weapons as you can find. Yeah, damage 3, AP 2 is enough. You don't need high AP because they've all got 4 up invuln. And just bring shitloads of it. But if you're bringing that sort of army and you're going to take it to a tournament, then you're going to be boned if you play against some of the other stuff that's going around. So yeah, they're great, but I don't think you need the Judicaar and the suppression fire. I think
no, he was saying the Judicaar plus the aura, the Voxa Spiritum.
Oh, yes.
But I actually think the Temper Mortis isn't an aura. Am I right here?
Pick a unit within 3, isn't it?
Yeah, let me check. I don't think Voxa Spiritum is going to help the Judicaar's range. Tarek,
no,
I think what you're going to need to pick, though, you can pick Selfless Valor for a Warlord trait, which gives him a 6-inch heroic intervention. And remember, when you heroically intervene, you don't need to end with an engagement range. So you can be like 6 inches away, you can heroic intervene forward like 4.5 inches, end out with engagement range and make them fight last. Sorry. I mean, making the bikes fight last is a good tactic, I would say. Like, there's nothing wrong with making those bikes fight last, but if you actually do the math on how survivable those bikes are, and the fact that they can be transhumaned, and the fact that they can turn off all rerolls against them, like, those bikes are legitimately difficult to bring down. Like, if they use transhuman on them and use like the turning off rerolls, each one feels like as strong as a land speeder. You know, like it's.
They're not far off anyway. They're same toughness, only slightly less wounds. And they got an invuln.
Yeah, and they got 4 up invuln. They're crazy, the bikes. They're just absolutely crazy.
It's really important to try and bait out that transhuman so that they're using it on something that's less important.
I'd honestly be happy to. I think those bikes are a bit like Drukhari Raiders. I think they could go up 10 points and everyone would still run them. Like, I don't think they're costed right at the moment.
I don't know about that. I mean, Reziel talked about this a little bit, what I saw in the chat. So you look at that top LVO list, the one that comes second, and there's no bikes in it. And a few people I've spoken to, the bikes are really very, very powerful, but there's lots of other stuff that's very powerful, and they are so expensive. Now, you see those big units of 6 of them, and you're looking at half your army. Well, quarter of your army. And that's a big deal, and I think you might see a few, but they're so expensive that I just don't think you're going to see many. Well, in some ways, it's more efficient to stick your salvo launcher on the bike captain.
Yeah.
And use him.
Right, hold on a second, because Highland Phoenix has just announced that he's buying 12 Centurions.
Yes.
Six 6 Devastators and 6 Assault Centurions.
Well, no, the 6 Devastator Centurions, they're rubbish. We've got Assault Centurions, yes.
Peter's asking if I can say the heroic intervention thing a little bit slower. So, Peter, when you make a heroic intervention, you don't have to end with an engagement range of the enemy, right? You can move up. So that if the enemy's within 3 inches of you with a normal heroic intervention, you can move up to 3 inches, but you do not need to end in engagement range, right? So if you give your Judicaar, I'm going to read out your message in just 1 second, Brian. Thank you for the $5. If you give your Judicaar Selfless Valor, which is a Warlord trait that now lets him heroic intervene 6 inches, you can essentially have him hiding behind a big unit of Terminators, Vanguard Veterans, Blade Guard Veterans, whatever it is you think that is going to be able to survive or fight up against those bikes. When they engage the unit, obviously you're hoping that your Judicaar is placed so he's within 6 inches of the bikes. Now you can move up to 6. You need to end closer, but you don't have to end in engagement range. So you can move up to 6, and the second you're within 3, then you're able to use the Judiciar's Temper Mortis ability to make them fight last. So it's basically like, essentially means if they ever move within 6 of you, you can move for 6 to make sure they're within 3, right? It's not super easy concept to get, so I understand. Hopefully that makes it clear though. Hellblasters bring weight of dice with 3 shots each. High strength and AP. I mainly play Custodes, Zachari, and Orcs, all power gamers as well. Do you know what? I never really thought about that. Assault Hellblasters are actually probably not a bad shout. The problem I find with Hellblasters, it's 2 if you overcharge it. And I think there's strength 7 if you overcharge it. I think there's strength 6 if you don't. But they're like -3 or -4.
Yeah, but Custodes, it doesn't matter because I've got 4 up in them.
Yeah, you only need -2, don't you? The problem with the Hellblasters, I find, is they're so damn expensive, and you're going to need to give them rerolls because you really don't want them dying, right? Hold on a second. I gotta read Brian's comment. Brian sent me $5 from, I think it's from Australia, so I don't know how he managed to send US dollars, but I appreciate it. Blood Angels Terminators all been...
AZ.
Do what, sorry?
It's Arizona, isn't it? AZ?
Oh, AZ. I was thinking Australia. I don't know why. Arizona. Okay, I'm not up on my American states.
We might be wrong on this. I'm just guessing.
Okay, well, Brian's about to flame us both in the chat because we don't know what AZ is. It's Arizona. You win You're on point tonight, Tony. Blood Angels Terminators all been my favourites, and Space Hulk. What if you could bring any weapons on the Terminators? What would it be? So I'm running Terminators in my competitive list at the moment, and I'm trying desperately to make them work, even though a lot of people in my stream, like, because mainly Reziel, even though a lot of people in my stream don't think Terminators are that competitive, I am trying desperately to make them work. I like my old 2nd edition Terminators. I was playing in the GT where I almost won, the GT where I got to the top table. Me and just one other player went 4-0. I ran Terminators with chain fists and bolt guns, or storm bolters. Now I've moved on to Terminators with thunder hammers and lightning claws, and that's why I'm trying to get some of these guys painted up. And it's actually criminal how many years I've had these guys unpainted, honestly. I've probably had them since... These guys are probably like 20 years older than my children. That's how long I've had these guys. Which is mad. But I'm running 3 with the thunder hammers and storm shields, and that's the sergeant has one of the thunder hammers, and then I'm running 2 more with lightning claws. And I like that squad. I run them with a teleport homer as well. So that comes in flat on 200 points, I think it is, because it's 43, 43, 43, 33, 33. Yeah, so it comes in bang on 200 points. You basically get the redeploy. So you come down and on deep strike, you charge something, you potentially kill it, or you potentially don't, and then you can obviously redeploy if you're not needed on that side of the board anymore. I like them. I keep running them. I keep trying to make them work. I know that some people don't think Terminators are great, but they are very, very durable. You know, like last week or 2 weeks ago, I was playing against what was it, like the Tau with all its big nasty
spam, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I had Terminators in cover, and basically like they were just saving everything he fired at them because the guys in the Storm Shield have a 0-up save in cover, right? And then this week I actually had the it wasn't the Silent King, it was the Void Dragon. The Void Dragon went into my squad of Terminators with -4 D6 damage weapon, and he killed nothing. I made every single save on the Storm Shields, and obviously at -4 you're on a 5-up save, but like if you think about it, like normally when you get hit with a weapon that's -4, like how often are you ever saving that reliably? You're not, right? You're just not saving on -4 usually. So the fact that like he managed to get 4 attacks through, each one is D6 damage, and my Terminators just tanked the whole thing, like I like the Terminators. I think there's a place for them. I've been saying for a little while that I've been finding the last 6 months is very, very difficult to run Blade Guard veterans, and my Blade Guard veterans just get chewed up every time they try and get across the table. it's, you know, 6 months ago, I was running Blade Guards in every single list. I loved them. They'd get to the center board, they'd get into the opponent's deployment zone. They were a really good unit. But like, as more and more things come, or as more and more codexes come out, and I play more and more difficult armies, I just wasn't having success with the Blade Guard, like, period.
So is that just because of the change between the 1-up save on the Terminator cover and the 2-up save on the... Oh, the 2-up save anyway, so they've both got the same save. Blade Guard, I suppose they're slightly taller. They can transhuman as well, so what's the difference?
The difference, I guess, is the Terminators can essentially ignore -2 AP, right? So if you're hitting them at -2 AP, you're still on a 2-up save. Whereas the Blade Guard, if you're getting hit on -2, you're on a 3-up save. Now, I think that is the big difference. Because...
So the difference between the 1-up save and the 0-up save
is more noticeable than transhuman. I've lost count of the number of times that I've paid the CP for transhuman and the Blade Guard just get wiped anyway, right? Like, that's happened to me so many times. And then the other thing is the Terminators are coming in from Deep Strike. And as a Blood Angel player, if you're saving 1 CP for the reroll, then you have a 65% chance of making that charge. So basically, 2 out of 3 times they come in from Deep Strike, you make the charge, you know? If you're willing to save a CP for it. Yeah, the odd game they don't make the charge, and against Tau, I guess they didn't make the charge, and the 5 Terminators in the exposed position got mowed down, very much like my Blade Guard would have got mowed down anyway. So, but then in another game, you know, they make the charge and they do devastating amounts of damage, and that's just something that I've not been seeing from my Blade Guard in the last 6 months. So yeah, I really like Terminators with the Thunder Hammers and Lightning Claws. And spoiler, the video that I'm putting out tomorrow, because I always put out a tactics video on Friday, is all about the Death Company and the points drop. And the spoiler is that the Death Company are actually really good now, even better. Arguably better than some of our other top tier units. Definitely worth checking out tomorrow's video if you want to see all my feedback on Death Company. But I'm gonna, as much as I want to run Death Company, I'm really loving the Terminators. I don't know if, probably gonna keep playing the Terminators, honestly, Tony.
I quite like them. I still like the Bolter ones. I don't know if I like them better, but I think that the Bolter ones are still a decent, durable kind of objective holding thing.
Yeah, it's the fact that they can come down anywhere and rinse things with their bolters. And I do actually like them for Auspex scan as well. You know, if you're playing against like a toughness 3 army, they bring anything in, you could just Auspex scan the shit out of them with the bolters. You get so many shots.
With the assault cannon or not?
Do I run it with assault cannon? In the tournament I did, yeah. I ran 1 assault cannon, 4 chain fists, and the rest on bolters. Terminators with Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields, and Apothecary or Sanguinary Priest with a Selfless Healer and Chief Apothecary are great for fighting over mid-board objectives, says the Dino Shepherd. That's probably a good shout, actually. I've not really run the Sanguinary Priest with the Terminators, but a 6-up shrug on those Terminators, and then I guess bringing back like a Thunder Hammer Terminator every turn is going to be very strong.
It's a lot of points to bring back, isn't it?
Void Dragon sucks into 3 wound units. I mean, he does, but at the same time, he is -4, so you expect him to kill things, right?
You'd think he'd do something anyway.
I haven't dropped Necrons, but Catan are not so amazing. Yeah, I mean, Catan aren't not so amazing. I'd agree with that, but I have no experience of fighting double Catan lists. And I could have maybe given the Nightbringer too much respect in Monday night's battle, but like I have very little experience fighting the Nightbringer. Typically I try and kill him before he gets to me. All I know is he probably gets like 6 attacks hitting on 2s and he ignores invulnerable saves. Like, you know, so I'm like, fuck this, I don't want to be in melee with him, so I have no experience of fighting him in melee.
James, I'm painting Custodes. I'm just doing the oils for pin washing today.
Yeah, you're building a Custodes list, aren't you?
I finished Trajan, I don't know if you can see him. It's probably a bit too dark in there. But I've just put a bit of definition onto his gold to make it look a little bit more interesting.
Nice.
And I've just done my Vexilla as well. And now it's on to the Telemon.
Yeah, we were talking at some point, I think Tony's going to maybe stream some painting over on the Grots channel. Maybe the same time, like, so we'll both have our own streams going on. And he's going to set up some sort of setup so you can see what he's working on.
Yeah.
How do you rate your painting compared to mine, Tony? Because I'm very much a battle-ready painter.
I'm a bit of a speed painter. I spend a lot of time speed painting because I do some commission work, but most of the people who I commission work for want stuff done quickly to a good standard.
Okay. So you're a bit of a battle-ready painter as well, I guess. Then,
yeah,
right?
I used to do a lot of more competition stuff, and I still do a little bit, but these days it's all about what's the best effect I can get in X number of hours.
Yeah.
So I normally quote per hour, and people are like, well, what can you do in 2 hours? And I've got, this is what my 2 hour standard, and that's what I tend to do.
That's how it goes.
I don't get a lot of time for just spending hours on one thing.
No, I hear you. Reziel actually sent me a photo, I think, yesterday, saying that he wanted to enter the Blood Angels painting competition that I've got going on this channel. If you haven't seen that video, guys, yet, I'm just going to pull out for another plug right here. Look, I got Horus Heresy models ready to give away. There was a video up last week about the painting competition, and there is going to be a degree of randomness in that competition. I was thinking about it. What I might do, Tony,
yeah,
I might get all the entries together, and then essentially I'll know who the entries by, and I'll show it. Like, I assume you're going to be one of my judges. I haven't asked you yet, but you can assume that you're going to be one of the judges. And then I'll show you guys all the models, but you won't know the name of the person whose model it is. So you guys will be like picking blind essentially, and we'll pick, I don't know, like we'll pick 5 or something, and then we'll roll a random number. So there's absolutely no chance that there's going to be like any manipulation in who's winning the prizes. But that way, that's kind of my plan, I guess.
I think that seems fair. So what's the prize? Have we just got the one top prize, or?
I got 2 Ralladorns.
All right, so we're going to give away 2 of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's £47.50 on Forge World. He's not, I know it is just one Space Marine, but I mean, he's arguably the most expensive Space Marine you could buy, I suppose.
Certainly one of them, yeah.
Because he's got his decorative base, but he kind of lifts out of his decorative base. So you can play him, or you can leave him in the decorative base.
He makes a good company champion, doesn't he?
Lightning Claw Bolter combo sounds nice for Relic Terminators. That is a nice combination, Chip Hazard. I might be tempted to get just one Chain Fist in there or something, so that when you do end up fighting armor, you've got that flat 3 damage Chain Fist. It is pretty nice.
Maybe you could put that on the Sergeant. Because that's the beauty of Relic Terminators, you can put interesting weapons on the Sergeant.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
You didn't mute that, and that was truly disgusting. Tony, have you tried using a purple wash over gold? I haven't used a purple wash, but actually, you can't really see on these, but or you might be able to see from a funny angle. The shading on this is actually quite literally purple through the airbrush. So yes is the answer, sort of. So to put a little bit of interest on there, I've used a bit of contrast purple, thinned it out with a bit of thinners, and then I've just blasted that from the bottom to do a bit of shading, just to give a little bit of... It's just a bit boring if it's just gold.
Yeah. David says that he's fired the Sanguinary Guard. 2+ armor save and flat 2 damage is bad now. It's not great, is it?
It's not as good as it once was.
No. Av says, BAC, can we get a full bike tactics video? What do you mean by full bike tactics video? I assume you want to know about the bike commander I run every week. I've definitely done videos on him.
Unless he means Firstborn bikes, because you haven't done one on those, have you?
No, I actually haven't done one on Firstborn bikes.
Outriders are shit, just don't bother with them.
Yeah, you want to avoid Outriders. Brian says, I'll be fielding my Lou list on Saturday, running 10 Death Company, 2 5-mans with a total of 9 Thunderhammers, 10 Vanguard Vets with Lightning Claws and Storm Shields, a Redemptor, MP Macroplasma, of course, 8 Sanguinary Guard, 5 Primaris Assault, 10 Interceptors, Sanguinary Priest, Astaroth, Dante, and a Sanguinary Ancient. I mean, it sounds like a very combat-y list, Brian. Sounds like it's going to be not bad either. You should
do something. Into some armies, that's going to be absolutely brutal. My only problem with the combat-heavy lists is they tend to have hard counters.
Yeah, they have a few. Death Guard were a very hard counter to them, but like Death Guard have kind of fallen out of the meta a little bit. I mean, some people are like Colin's still running Death Guard, but
have you played them recently with the points drop on the Plague Burst crawlers?
I think I played him once since they dropped points, but the problem is, like, I've played Colin so many times, I kind of have his number. It's kind of a running joke between me and Colin that he never beats me with his Death Guard.
Remember that time when he tried to say you can't charge because his mace was longer than 1 inch?
Yes, he was clutching. He was like, you can't charge me because you can't get in base contact because my weapon is in the way. He was definitely clutching at straws that time. I actually think we didn't end up making that charge because we let him off with it, but I think he lost the game anyway.
He lost the game anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Plague Burst Crawler's down points is unneeded. Is unneeded, I would say. Like, they were fine where they were.
I felt they were quite nicely balanced before. I thought they were nice, in a good position.
Yeah.
Resi, I know about the hell. You know, we're talking about ridiculous commissions. I've taken on a knight's commission. So there's one of the armigers and things. So I've done a battle ready knight's commission, and I've got 2,000 points of them to paint in about 3 weeks.
I don't know how you guys do it.
Sorry?
Honestly, I don't know how you guys do it. Well, I mean, I guess, like, Reziel's got kids. I think he's got 3 kids. How the hell are you painting like 1 million models in a month when you've got 3 kids? Two Scoops just jumped in and said, straight from the 3 Grots video to the hobby hangout stream, time to quit working and get the Leviathan out to work. Thanks for watching us over on the 3 Grots, Two Scoops. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Firstborn bikes. I'm always in the Discord preaching them, says Ave. I don't run that many Firstborn bikes. I assume you don't mean attack bikes. I assume you mean like, because if you're in the, I assume that he's meaning, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he means proper bikes.
He means
Mark's a big fan of them. He was talking about them the other day, saying
bike squads.
They're a bit unrelated, under kind of valued. To do these new missions and that, they could be quite useful because they're quite cheap. You can put some interesting weapon options on them.
Death Guard are a C tier right now. I wouldn't say they're C, but I think here's my problem with Death Guard is, right, like, if you look at Mortarion, you're almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't take Mortarion in Death Guard. So I think you can't take Mortarion, right? Because like if you take him and he dies early, that's too much of your army lost. So you just lose the game. But if you don't take him, you don't, like, your Terminators, well, I mean, we all know Terminators are slow as fuck. And then you've got your Plague Marines and all that. Like, it's generally quite a slow army. I think the best thing that Colin was running, you know, the little, like, they're not the fletted boat drones.
Oh, the ones with the flesh mowers?
No, he's running the ones with the multi-melters and the crack missiles.
Oh, yeah, the myopic blight.
Blight haulers, that's the one, yeah. So I actually think blight haulers are probably one of the things that could be decent, but I do think Necrons are, Necrons, the same colour as Death Guard, they're green. I do think that Death Guard have fallen away quite a bit. Like, when their Codex came out, they were very, very powerful.
Well, we were all scared of Morty, weren't we?
I mean, we still are. If you put Morty on the board, he's still scary. The thing is, he's as scary as he is scary for the Death Guard player to lose him. Because if you lose him, that's a quarter of your army, and you know he just brings so much to the table. I feel like
he's almost an auto include, but yeah, I don't know. He's very, very powerful. I do like him.
Zach says he's lucky to paint 1 model with his 3 kids. I feel you, Zach. I have 2 kids and I get to paint. I finish about 1 model well, I don't even finish 1 model a month at the moment, I guess. But yeah, I with multiple kids running around, it's very difficult to get good quality painting time. So I don't know how you do it, Reziel. More power to you. Man, I love Lightning Claws. Plague Burst Crawler at 160 points is insane, but I think it's sabotaging to the last. Oh, right, okay, yes, that's why they brought it down, to stop them just picking...
A few people have said that, isn't there?
Picking all the Plague Burst Crawlers is to the last. Huh.
Because it means that they're not a target or whatever.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this earlier with my stupid Custodes list with 2 Telemons in it that I'm going to take to the last, because that will mean that my Telemons are the last targets.
So Brian says, how do you submit an army list? What you do, Brian, is you go to the top where you see the little logo that shows like the Blood Angels Commander, and you click on it, so you actually go through to the Blood Angels Commander channel page. You can open that in a new tab, and then there's a community tab there, like up at the top. You hit community, and in the latest community post, doesn't matter which one it is, just whatever's newest, that's where you want to just post your army list. I love doing the army list show, right, Brian, but I'm so backlogged because of chapter approved 2022. Everybody, and literally everybody, is submitting army lists at the moment. So if you're not a channel member, the queue's honestly like 4 months. Channel member, the queue is like a month at the moment. So
4 months.
Yeah, I mean, I've had like 20 submissions in the last week, and I only get through like 1 or 2 non-members a week. So I was doing more. I was doing a longer army list show when I had less kids, but like now I'm just doing like an hour and a half every week on army lists. Honestly, really don't have the time to do any more than that. So I will review it. If you want more, if you want quicker feedback, you either need to become a channel member, or you can come over onto Discord and put it in the army channel over there, and the people in the channel.
It's a pretty good place to go. There's quite a lot of good players and that will pick your list apart depending on what you want out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the Discord is great. The help that people will give you on there is amazing, right?
I mean, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt because there's some right chances on there.
Was that you? You're on there, right?
Yeah. But there is some good advice to be had on there.
And Crimson Jacket says, there's levels to painting. What are the expectations when Reziel says battle ready? Does the person paying only expect 3 colours? That's a good question. I guess everybody does a different... Like, everyone's got their own definition of battle ready. To me, battle ready isn't really 3 colours. Like, for example, like these Terminators have... Like, I guess you could say these guys are battle ready with like 6 colours on them, but honestly, like, battle ready for me means finished. It means like probably like every bit of detail painted, a little bit of washing done, and maybe a tiny little bit of highlighting. Like the most basic of like a decent paint job is what I would class battle ready as. What would you class battle ready as, Tony?
I try and avoid terms because it is a problem. Because people say, someone says battle ready and they think 3 colours, and I've never liked that. I think it's ugly as sin. So when I'm quoting, if someone says battle ready, I'll send them kind of like I say 2 hour standard, and I'll say, right, well that's this, and that's all the bits of details done. There's a bit of shading on there, a bit of highlighting on there, transfers, that sort of stuff, and it's based properly, and that's what I'd consider battle ready. And then for me, when you hit parade ready, that's when you start making sure that your blends are nice and clean rather than just a sort of rough. So like, for example, I don't know how well it will show, but I'm working on Trajan at the moment, and I've done a kind of loose, I'll bring the light down there so you can see. I've done a kind of quick and dirty blend on his axe.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of, I'd say that's a battle ready kind of blend on there. It's not super smooth.
Yeah,
but
that's
it was
true.
Quick and it's fine. I've spent a few hours on it. So whereas if it went to parade ready, then you wouldn't be seeing any brush strokes in that, and it'd be a lot more glazing going on. And I think that's, for me, it's painted, and then I've spent hours glazing it, makes it parade ready.
Yeah. I always thought, like, when people ask me about my army, I always say it's battle ready plus, right? Like, I base them, I do some dry brushing, I do some washes, I get all the colours on, I usually do a recess shade. I don't do edge highlighting on very many models just because I just test how long it takes me, and I'm a perfectionist.
I think it looks ugly.
So
some people do an amazing job. I just think it's ugly.
I end up going
is my problem with a lot of it.
Back and forth so many times on edge highlighting that I just, you know, it looks good in the end, but it takes me so long to get there. So I'm not a huge edge highlighter, but for me, battle ready is, you know, like on my Vanguard veterans, a good example might be like these lightning claws. What I would do is I would probably like dry brush like half lightning claws like a lighter blue, and then dry brush the tips of them white, then glaze the lightning claws, you know.
So I think battle ready is I'm happy to field it on a table.
Yeah.
And I think that depends on everybody's battle ready is going to be a bit different. Then I'm not going to feel ashamed if I showed this on a table.
DTM said
parade ready means I'm not going to feel ashamed if I put this in a display cabinet for people to look at.
That's a cool way of looking at it as well. DTM says he's excited for speed paints. Army Painter speed paints. These are the new ones that Army Painter have been bigging up. Is it something that's on your radar, Tony? What do you think about it?
It is. I'm a big fan of contrast. I especially like contrast through the airbrush because I'm all about the speed painting. Now, the Army Painter ones have got quite a narrow range, but where I see them coming in, they've got a few colours that seem to be a little bit better from what I've seen. I haven't got my hands on them yet than the contrast equivalent. But for me, the most exciting thing about them is getting them in the hands of people who maybe can't afford the contrast. So I run a Warhammer club at the school, and I've got a lot of kids in there, and they're all sort of like kind of between sort of 11 and 15, 16, 17, but they haven't got a lot of disposable income.
No.
And painting is very expensive. It's a really expensive hobby. And if you tell a kid that, like, all right, well, to paint your model that you've just brought in today, you're going to need X, Y, Z. If you look at the Citadel list of paints you need to paint the most basic infantry, it's about 15 paints.
Oh, but the Citadel lists they're taking the piss, aren't they?
And it's too much. And also, all their paint sets are traditional paints. They don't put the contrast in them. So what I'm really excited for with these speed paints is being able to say to a kid, look, pick up a few of these, or get your mum and dad to buy you a nice little set of these speed paints, because they are easier to use, and then your little 11-year-old can have an army that he's battle ready and he's proud of, quickly and cheaply and easily. And then they can maybe pick up a Citadel paint set to try and put a little bit of extra detail in or something like that. And I really think they've got a place for that.
If I was 11,
I'll give it a go.
I would love.
Yeah, I think they're exciting.
I would have loved to have speed paints, because see, when I was 11, when they tell you with the contrast paint, put on like one thick coat. Boy, 11-year-old John was really fucking good at putting on one thick coat. I'll tell you right now. Took the paint right out of the pot and just put it on the models, one thick coat, and 20 years later. Well, actually, more like 30 years later now, I still occasionally strip models that I painted back then because they are so bad.
Well, at least you could, because they were all metal.
Yeah.
I think my sister's army's been stripped about 4 times. A lot of it's sitting here in a box because it all. So most of my sisters, which shows how old I am, I've got about 4,000 points of sisters, and about 3,000 points of them are all metal.
James says,
little resin ones.
James says, John, have you received your wet palette now? I have not received my wet palette. I moved house, and then I had a lot going on with my family, but like it's not been released yet. Did you pre-order it?
So they had some problems with manufacture.
Okay, you're on top of it.
Because I'm waiting for the same one. I've got at the moment. I've got the Mark 1. I'm not using it because of my oils at the moment, but there's the Mark 1. I've had that for a few years now.
Okay.
And I've ordered the Big XL new one, and it's been delayed and delayed and delayed.
That can happen with Kickstarter things, can it?
Sorry?
That does happen with Kickstarter things.
Yeah, it does.
Do you know what's really funny is I Kickstarted that new Hero Quest because I did an unboxing on the channel, but I moved house and I contacted, it was Zavi who was doing the Kickstarter. It was sort of a weird Kickstarter because it was called like Hasbro Pulse or something, right?
Yeah, I saw that. That's why I didn't do it. It just seemed a bit too shifty to me.
It seemed weird. It was like you order it through Zavi, but it's a Kickstarter. So I ordered it through Zavi, and I was obviously moving house. So I messaged them and said, hey, I'm moving house. This is my new address. And they said, that's fine. No problem. We'll update your address. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I got a delivery note that was like, this has been delivered. And I was like, text my wife. I was like, did a box come for me today? Like, no. I was like, oh, they've delivered it to my old address. Well, that's fucking great. I don't live there anymore. And I messaged them and was like, hey, I told you guys I'd moved. And they were like, oh, okay, sorry, we'll send you one out to the new address. And then what had happened was the person that had bought my house, my old house, had they'd had a couple of problems with the heating system when it moved in. It was that Hive thing that we had.
Yeah.
And apparently Hive have this thing where the router is linked to Hive and you can't transfer it to other people or something like that. Some bullshit, I guess, for them to try and sell additional routers. Yeah. But when I signed up to Hive, they gave me 2 routers. So when the woman messaged me, because I'd left the router behind because it said, like, you can't use the router in your new house. So when I moved out, I'd left the woman messaged me and was like, hey, you know, I can't get the Hive to work. Is there any way you could help? And I was like, that's when I looked into it and was like, all right, that's bullshit. So I messaged her and said, yeah, sure, I'll give you the new router that I have that's still in a box because I never used it. And you give me the one back that's linked to my account and we'll call quits. So she actually messaged me and was like, hey, a big package arrived for you. Do you want to come and pick it up? And I was like, okay. So now I've got 2 Hero Quests. And nice. I'm just sort of like sat there with Xavi and I'm like, well, it's their fault, right? Like, what's...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm just waiting to hear if they want their first Hero Quest back or not. I'm like... But I'm pretty sure they've just written it off. They're like, oh, our mistake, never mind.
Nice. Quid's in there, then.
Kind of random, I guess.
I remember the old Hero Quest. I used to love that.
I did like the old Hero Quest. I was actually thinking we may see, like, if they don't ask for it back in, like, 6 months' time, I may give it away on the channel.
Yeah, why not?
Original says Blood Angels Commander is honestly the best community I've ever joined. It's made me a mainline Blood Angels player. Well, thank you for that, Rezio. I'm glad that we have got a very good community.
It's pretty good, yeah. I mean,
we don't really...
I was going to say something mean, but just for the sake of it.
I was going to say we don't really have any problems in our community ever, do we?
No.
You know, like we once in a blue moon get a reported post on Discord, but like I said, it really rare. is once in a blue moon. We've had a couple
of bots and things like that, but we really don't get much.
I like to mix paints to get the shades and colours. I feel like speed paints aren't pixel heavy, so they haven't blended well. I don't own any speed paints, Crimson, but I think what I'm going to do is if I start another army, I'm going to go with speed paints because, you know, I've been painting this Blood Angels army now for about 8 years, and I don't think I'm even close to the backlog. So if I ever do finish it, I don't want another 15-year project. I'm going to use speed paints.
I don't know how much I agree with the not blending, to be honest. Hang on, let me just try and grab something. Again, this might be a bit hard to see on the little image on the thing, but so... Oh, and I've broken him as well. Look at that. So, you can sort of see on here, if I'm holding it... it's not going to come out, I don't think. But I've done a blend from sort of purple to red on this banner. And it's come out all right because the paint, the sort of contrast speed paint stuff, they're actually very high pixel density, but because they stay wet for quite a while, they're really easy to do sort of like quick wet blends between them. So you're just slopping it all on there and running in between. And you're not going to be sort of blending to make beautiful transitions unless you start glazing with them, which they do quite well. But if you want to do quick and dirty wet blends with things, I think they can be really quite good for it.
This is speed paints you're talking about.
Experience doing that.
Sorry, this is speed paints you're talking about.
Well, this is the contrast, but the speed paints aren't really out yet.
Oh, they're not.
Only half out yet, if that makes sense. Some people have got them, some people haven't. They released a lot to various YouTubers,
content creators, yeah.
Yeah, but you're not important enough yet for them to send you any.
That's okay, I can deal with not being important. One day I'll maybe be important.
So I haven't actually had my hand on the speed paint, but certainly the contrast are pretty good for it. And I've used the Scale 75's Alchemy paints, which is kind of their take on contrast, speed paint sort of things, and they've not been bad for that either. So give them a try, because I'd say for wet blending, they've not been too bad for that.
Okay. Yeah, I only own one contrast paint, and it's Blood Angels Red.
I only use Blood Angels Red on my Custodes, and the only contrast red I use for my Blood Angels is Flesh Tearers.
I use the Blood Angels Red only exclusively over gold, because I find it gives like a very cool, like I guess what would you call it? Like a golden red? Like a something like that?
I'll tell you a fun one for doing that. Have you got that Blood for the Blood God technical paint?
I've got a red glaze, I think. Is it?
They make one called Blood for the Blood God, which is a technical paint, and it's like super goopy and thick.
No,
that Odor Gold makes fantastic, super quick blood drop gems.
Okay. I usually use
the same as the contrast, just a lot thicker and glossier.
Gene Stealer purple for my gems.
Oh yeah, the same sort of thing.
Have either of you tried battery powered airbrushes? Says Life RPG.
I have. I didn't like it, if I'm honest. I didn't think it was very good. I bought one on the cheap and I've sort of regretted it. So I've got a normal. So this is a Harder and Steenbeck Evolution that I use.
Yeah.
I've just got a little compressor down here.
Nice. I've never got round to airbrushing yet. I'm one of these people that hates change. Like, change is definitely like, I hate change so much that like, if there's a new, like people are already moving on to Windows 11 and I'm like, but Windows 10 works fine for me. Like, I guess it's just like, if it's not broke,
Yeah, I can sort of get behind that.
So I'm one of those people that like, if it's not broke, I just quite happy to plod along, I guess. And yeah.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm a massive gadget freak loser on this sort of stuff. So it's kind of like, oh, new Windows. So I immediately installed it on my laptop and everything didn't work.
Everything's good with it?
No.
No?
It's not actually too bad. It's a lot better than when I did 8 to 10.
Oh yeah, that was a nightmare transition,
That
sure.
was a nightmare. This one's not been too bad. There's a couple of weird things that don't work.
Do you know what?
I can no longer play Raid Shadow Legends on my laptop.
Okay.
Didn't make the transition.
Hashtag first world problems.
Hashtag first world problems. I keep thinking if I bring them up often enough, they'll eventually sponsor us.
So,
I want
the speed paints are coming out in March. Use Bloodletter or Arithmatic Blue or something. Athematic.
Yeah.
I've got maths on the mind. I read that as arithmetic. Life RPG says, was it because of the low pressure? Why did you not like the airbrush?
It was the inconsistent pressure was the problem. So it'd start out and I'd get sort of like a few little squirts that was usable, and then it would very quickly peter out and become unusable. And the problem was, if you weren't really paying enough attention, which is, you can argue is on me, but you're doing a lot of them and you're just sort of like trying to get in that zone, suddenly it will start sputtering and it will start spitting all over your model, and what you'll end up with is like a really inconsistent finish. So I'm just trying to find, I've got in one of these cupboards, I've tried to do a load of base coating with one of these. So you can see this is like a really badly started on the end, and this was me trying to do it with this bloody battery powered airbrush.
Okay.
And it was either spitting and then it stopped running, and then it would sort of fart out a load of paint, and then I'd get a bit of dry tip because it didn't have enough pressure for a bit to get a flow, and I'd have to clean it off again. And it's just so inconsistent that I got very annoyed with it.
That's fair enough.
Because I was hoping I could use it as a really quick way of doing base coats.
That makes sense, yeah. I spend so much time doing base coats.
Because the other one, you get these little square compressors. You get one on Amazon with a kit with like an airbrush and a little square compressor for about 50 quid. And you're better off putting it in the bin. It was a total waste of 50 quid.
So, tell me, is it shit?
It's fucking awful. Yeah, they were really, really quite... It was useless. And if I was going to do really quick base coats for things, and I wanted to get a good finish quickly, and I didn't want to spend the money on an airbrush setup, because a compressor's 100 quid. A reasonable airbrush with some little bits is probably 40 or 50 quid. It's not cheap.
All right, so a couple of things. Chip Hazard says, thoughts on the Vindicator Laser Destroyer? It will one-shot the Custodes bikes. I think it's good.
Yeah, I love it.
We all love the Vindicator Laser Destroyer.
you hit with 2 of them, you kill 1 bike.
Yeah. So Highland Phoenix says take 2 of them in a Tech Marine. I think that's actually a really legit way to use them. They've got good range as well, 36 inches. Vindicator laser destroyers can kill anything as well, right? Like, it's not like they just have to kill the bikes. You finish off the bikes, then go after some Telemons or something. They're D3 plus 3, aren't they? Or is it not 6 damage if they remain stationary, I think?
Flat 6, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't own Vindicator laser destroyers. I fucking should own some of them. It's, but this is why I'm never going to finish this Blood Angels army. Justin says, is there a place I can post pictures of the progress of my Blood Angels? Yes, 100%. You can post them in the Discord, which there will be a link below, Justin. And there is a painting competition going on as well. So, and there's going to be a degree of randomness in the painting competition. So, we're going to be making like a shortlist, like I said, Tony. So, somebody who's maybe not the best painter can win one of the models, right? Because if there's a panel of judges and we've got to pick like 5 or 6 guys.
It's going to be our favourite ones as well, rather than necessarily the very best painted ones.
Yeah, so you're talking about like you're just trying to, you know, for example, my bike captain isn't painted very well. I mean, he's painted Battle Ready Plus, but maybe if the judges were looking at him, I'm obviously not going to enter, but just hypothetically, if my bike captain's there and he's got like, you know, a Reaver helmet and he's got like some Sangre Guard wings on him and he looks very thematic and he glows and I got a good picture and good lighting, then they might pick him just because he's a cool looking Blood Angels unit, you know. Or you might have, a lot of people have made conversions of a Sanguiner. I imagine one of the Sanguiners will probably end up as a potential winner, and if that's you and the random number generator rolls for you, you might win it. So
I mean,
check it out.
Originality counts for a lot.
Yeah,
just really cool stuff.
When does the competition start? So the competition, I did a video on the competition starting, Jeff, like it was last Wednesday, but you've got about a month. I said about a month in the video. It probably still, you know, this is the thing about YouTube. YouTube doesn't show your content to everybody. So because some people aren't interested in the painting video and it doesn't get high click-through rate, then it doesn't get shown to everybody, which is the annoying thing about YouTube. But yeah, maybe we need to share that around a few more times to let everybody know. So basically what I'm asking, because it's the first one we've done on the channel, if you've already painted something awesome and you've never entered it in a competition before, then you're welcome to enter it in this one. Maybe in future years of the competition, the rules will be a bit more stringent and it has to be something you've painted since I announced the competition. But this year is the first one, so essentially any model that you've done is eligible. Just search Blood Angels Commander painting and it should pop up. Like I imagine it should come up as the first video or the top video, because it's the only painting video I've made in the last year. I wanted to do a video on how I paint Sanguinary Guard, the wings and everything, and do all the shading, and I've got one here that I didn't even spray yet because I really wanted to make that video. The problem is I just need a day like with no kids. Just one day, that's all I'm asking.
Before you had kids?
Yeah, I'm not greedy. I'm just wanting like one day with no kids so I can do all the filming and editing and paint it. Yeah, should have thought about that before we had kids. Hey, we were in a lockdown for like 18 months. It's the north of Scotland. There's not that much to do.
What else are you going to be doing in the dark?
Yeah, exactly.
I read somewhere, I don't know how true it is, but that you've got some of the really northern countries that have sort of 6 months of dark.
Yes.
That all the babies are born during the next 6 months of dark, because what are you going to do in the dark for 6 months?
Probably. The NHS actually did say do not get pregnant during COVID as well. Like that was the thing that they put out, because obviously
you definitely can do the opposite of what you're told.
The hospitals are going to be like busy and there's not going to be enough beds and all that, and you know, we got pregnant, so that's the way it goes. What's the closing for entries? I haven't announced the closing date yet. That was kind of the point. The kind of point was to show off the 2 prizes and announce what we're doing, and about a month's time I'll give the closing date. So I made that video last Wednesday. That was the 9th. So I imagine probably like the second week of March I will announce a closing date for entries. A bunch of people have entered already. Like, I checked the email address that I set up for the tournament. There's at least 10 emails in there. So, like, 10 people have submitted models, and I flicked through them, and some of them look pretty legit, you know. So some people have put effort in already. Some people, like Reziel, are desperate to finish their commissions so they can put in a model as well. So yeah, that's you've still got like 3-4 weeks to get your best painted model that you can get for Blood Angels together, and essentially get it sent over to the email address from the video that I put up last Wednesday, Jeff. So you got a little bit of time, and knowing me and knowing that my schedule right now with the kids is terrible, you may actually even have another week because I'll be running behind schedule or something like that. JDog 40k says, nice to find a painting hangout, not a Blood Angels, but Farsight and Cloves, kind of close, right? Red and enjoy punching. I mean, Red, yeah. Tau are a bit difficult right now,
it's
aren't
an
they?
old model Farsight, but I enjoy painting them.
Yeah. Yeah, we, you know, if you're more interested in non-Blood Angels content, then you're probably going to want to, like, I know I've plugged it like 3 times already tonight, but we do have a podcast channel as well called 3 Grots on YouTube. And I think our next episode was going to be on Tau, wasn't it?
That's certainly the plan, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
we just...
got
you got the codex right there? Yeah. So we put out an episode in Custodes tonight, but yeah, we've got Tau. Tau is coming up next, obviously, because they just got their new codex, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks for being here, JDog. Nice to meet you, and thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. What's the time? 20 to midnight. All right, I got about half an hour. 20 minutes, half an hour. Unfortunately, I got to work in the morning. What time do you get up for work on a weekday, Tony?
When I got up about 5:45.
Oh man. Oh, I thought my morning start was rough. 5:30.
Well, I leave for work at about 10 to 7. So you get up, you have your shower, eat some food.
Yeah.
Fuck about for a bit, making coffee and all this sort of stuff, and then you drag your ass out the door.
Yeah, no, I get up at 7:20. I thought that was bad. I must feel
well
like a lion to you. Huh?
Yeah, well on the road by then.
Yeah.
But I have been sitting on my arse all week painting things, so there are some ups and downsides.
I suppose. I'm usually one of the first in my office. I get to my I usually leave my house about 10 to 8, get to the office about 20 past 8.
I quite like, I normally get into the school at about 7:30, and it gives me about 45 minutes before kids start turning up and bothering me.
Or plasma rifles, but ranged thunderhammers. I mean, that is true. Here,
yeah, but they kill themselves.
They do kill themselves. I did not like the fact that the Tau had that gun that was -4 leadership. Like, what the actual hell was that? Andrew always complains that suppression fire is so strong, and he's like, oh, I've got this one gun that if I make a single hit roll, you're -4 leadership. I was like, say what? And you complain about my codex? How dare you? It's like, that is ridiculous. If you shoot that at an expensive model or expensive unit, they're still losing guys, right?
Yeah, that's... Even Custodes have got to start thinking about that with leadership 11. Almost. Actually, wait, no, they still can't fail. James Fisher takes a 5:45 train to work. Well, Jesus Christ, that's sadistic. Dino Shepherd starts work at 5:30, goes till 2. See, I could get behind that. I quite like getting into work early and coming home. That's one of the reasons, because I do try and get in there sort of 45 minutes. Teachers have to start about 8 o'clock, but I get in there about 7:30, and then that means that I can try and get off home a little bit earlier.
But I have to work till 5:30, so
yeah.
I get in just about 8:30. Usually just take like 15 minutes for lunch, 20 minutes for lunch.
Camille, how's it going with COVID in the UK? In Switzerland, they've decided to normalise everything to no masks. No vac. Yeah, so we still need vaccines and things, really. But a lot of the places have said the rules are you don't have to wear a mask anymore. And depending on where you go in, for us is, well, certainly for me, is how many people you're seeing in a mask. I still wear a mask, but that's now officially through choice rather than anybody telling me I've got to.
Yeah, that's exactly where we are as well. In my office, I want to say 80% of people aren't wearing a mask, but I've got like 2 very young children that are like not vaccinated, so I'm still wearing a mask.
I work with kids and none of them wear a fucking mask, so...
Yeah, so while I'm wearing a mask more for my family's protection than my own protection, but I mean, I'm triple jabbed, I guess. But here in Scotland, we do still have isolation. I think they were talking about removing that in England this week.
Yeah, we're in
maybe?
the same state. We still have it, but there is a lot of rumour that it's going to be going shortly.
Yeah. The situation isn't bad, though. Like, the hospitals aren't overcrowded or anything like that.
It's all right at the moment.
So it seems like it's sort of coming to an end, but maybe the government are pushing for it to end a little bit quicker than people would be comfortable with. But at the same time, like, it has been going on for what feels like forever now.
Sort of understand it.
Yeah, you can sort of see why they're trying to end it. Before I retired, I was out the door no later than 5:20 a.m. You guys make it like I'm sitting here thinking I'm spoiled now. Before I said on my stream, I'm thinking, fuck me, I gotta get up at 7:20 again tomorrow. Now it sounds like I'm living the land of luxury at 7:20 apparently.
It is, yeah. You've got
an
easy life.
Yeah. We have a show in Scotland. You probably have never heard of this TV show. Have you heard of it? It's called Still Game.
Oh,
no?
Is it a remake of an old show from like the 60s or something?
Yeah, it's like an old comedy show with these old geezers, and they've got a great phrase in that, which is one of them works in a corner shop, you know, like selling, like, you know, cigarettes, booze, whatever you sell in a corner shop, and the other one works in a pub, and they always say to each other, "Your job's cushy," which means like it's easy, it's a joke, you know, like. Yeah. So I can just hear you guys saying, like, you get to sleep until 7:20, your job's cushy. You know, it's like, fuck you. I'm like, bloody hell, no, I mean, I hate getting up at 7:20, honestly. But all you guys getting up at
happy if I could get up a bit later.
5 a.m. Good on you.
Yeah, bugger that for life. Whoever it was asking about airbrushes and battery-powered ones earlier. I do think the cheap ones are a bit of a waste of money, but I tell you what isn't a waste of money, and that's just a cocking great big dry brush. So this is the Artist Opus ones, and these are a bit overpriced. I've got the fancy set as well, and they're really, really good, but they're a lot of money. But even just a set of makeup brushes, trim them down a bit so they're a little bit stiffer maybe, and just you can get some fantastic approaches really, really quickly just stippling your base coats on. It's not quite as quick as doing it with the airbrush, but you'll get a similar finish. Yeah, just jabbing it on there, just stippling it all over. And if you look on the Artist Opus channel, is a great one for this because he does some incredible work just with dry brushing and just with the stippling and that. You can get some great finishes really, really quickly. And 50 quid buys a lot of makeup brushes. And you can always worry about getting yourself a nice airbrush set up a bit later on. I definitely recommend do that until you can afford a proper one.
He's talking about these brushes. They're called Artist Opal. I don't know if you can see that on my camera very well.
Yeah, so this is an Artist Opus Series D, which are their dry brush series, but you don't need one. These are amazing, don't get me wrong. But yeah, get a load of makeup brushes, go into Boots or wherever your local equivalent is, buy some makeup brushes, maybe trim them down a little bit, and they're just fantastic to get your base coats on things if that's really what you're trying to do. Yeah, Rezi was saying it, no, buy makeup brushes. Yeah, I completely agree. These are great, but they're a lot of money. Makeup brushes are near enough as good.
So FFS, name taken, says he wakes up at 9 a.m. So his job is actually cushy.
I bet he's a student or something. Do you remember being a student when it was like, oh, I've got a 9 a.m. lecture, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I do actually remember that, yeah. When I was a student, one semester, I had every Monday and Friday off. Can you believe that? So basically, when Thursday night came, it was like Thursday pub, Friday pub, Saturday pub, Sunday pub, and sometimes, even though we went back on Tuesdays, Monday pub. It was the most ridiculous time of my life ever.
I remember pound a pint,
Yeah.
All I did was play rugby, drink beer.
Played a lot of pool at the student union as well.
Did you get like I didn't play at the student union, but the local pool hall had a student membership. It was like £10 for a lifetime membership.
No, we had something like that at our student union. Like, we just literally played. Like, I got really good at pool because we just literally drank beer and played pool.
Yeah. That's all I did was play rugby, really, for bloody ages. Turn up to the occasional physics lecture. Yeah, life, definitely give your wife's makeup brushes a go, but make sure you clean them out and don't do what I did, which is not clean them out and then wonder why I had some very strange texturing on some of my models.
Oh, cool. So FF name taken is actually a games tester.
I don't know if it's that cushy, mate. I've got some friends who are games testers, and it sounds a bit rubbish. Some of the being on Q&A. John, you'd know more about that than me.
Yeah, I mean, if you are in Q&A and you have to play the same level like 500 times, surely at some point that can be hard work, I guess. Like anything, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Every job has its ups and downs, I guess. Drinking till Weatherspoons throw you out. Yeah.
I'm old. There wasn't really Weatherspoons when I was a student.
No? Oh, we had Weatherspoons for sure.
So student union bar for us.
Do you know what? I'm feeling a little bit happier with these Terminators. I've been fielding them in such an unpainted state that, like, it feels bad. You know, when you're fielding models and you look at them, like, while you're playing the game, and you're like, God, those models need some love. I really hate playing with unpainted or poor painted models.
Yeah, I very rarely will play with a model until it's fully painted.
Oh, I'd never play if they had to be fully painted, but yeah, I do know the feeling of, like, I just want them to look better, or just want them to be more complete, or however you want to phrase it, I guess.
I don't decry people who do. I know some people get really arsy about playing against armies of grey plastic and that. And whilst it's a lot nicer to play against a big army, you know, beautifully painted, on beautifully set terrain, not everybody's in a position to be able to do that. Yeah,
that's the tough part, isn't it?
And that's fine. It's just, for me, I don't like fielding things until I've got them to a standard where I put it on the table and I feel really proud of that model.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same way. I guess because I'm trying to be competitive all the time, I don't have that luxury. But you know, I do my best to keep. If I'm gonna play something a few times and I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is gonna be part of my army, I try and get colours on it as quick as possible. I would never play with grey though. Like, at least spray it red or something and then play, I guess. Is it cushy that I can start work when I want to? Just need to get 42 hours done every week. I mean, I think it's cool if you can work when you want to. I mean, I don't know if
I'd like to be in that position. I think,
you know, 42 hours a week is still a good amount of work, right?
Yeah, that's still decent. That's long hours. That.
Yeah.
One of the few things I miss moving to the Midwest and I don't think I could get that far without Marmite, Zach. I lived in China for a little while, and even there I managed to find a way of getting hold of Marmite.
Well, it's Marmite yeast extract or something.
Yeah.
Is it that good?
What's Marmite?
I don't really...
Have you gotten to this stage in your life and not know what Marmite is?
Well, apparently I don't. I mean, we are in a completely different country. You know, things up here are a bit stranger, right?
Well, stranger, certainly, yeah.
Thanks.
You're not that far from Glasgow.
I'm actually like 4 hours drive from Glasgow. That's how far north I am.
4 hours drive from everywhere, John.
Yeah, I accept that. But yeah, I mean, Marmite is not something that I've really ever had.
Couldn't live without it. I buy it in those bulk catering tubs. It's sort of like 2 litres at a time. Marmite, it's a yeast extract. It's black, it's thick, it looks like tar, and it tastes a bit like it too. But it's kind of it's somewhat addictive. It's a very, very sort of British thing to eat.
I was going to say, so would you put it on toast or what?
Yeah, a bit of toast. Get some real good quality bread. Or the best one is like Marks and Spencer's do this cheese bread with loads of cheese in it, and when you toast it, the cheese that's in the bread melts a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
And
That
then you
sounds
get some,
cool.
like fresh butter on that, proper butter. None of this like spread shit. Bit of Marmite on top of that. Oh, best thing in the world.
I mean,
Absolute best thing in the world. Life RPG eats it in New Zealand. I thought you just had Vegemite over there. Or was that only the Aussies that get it? You get both, maybe.
a Marmite denialist apparently is what I'm being called now.
Zach Force lives on 40 acres. All right, rub it in my tiny little house.
40 acres.
That's fucking huge, isn't it? That's probably like your garden, that in the middle of nowhere, John.
It's not. It's nothing. My garden's like 10 meters by 10 meters. It's not that big.
Yes, life. I have tried it with a slice of cheese on toast. It is awesome because you put it on, then you put the cheese on top, and you can't really see it. But when you bite it, you get that kind of salty. Amazing.
Sanguinius eats Marmite apparently. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm gonna have to look for this next time I go shopping, haven't I? And I'll get enlightened by you.
Don't go heavy with it. You only want a really thin sheen, you know? You want to see through it. If you start ladling it on like jam, you'll die.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, if I'm having toast, I would put like Nutella or honey or jam. I mean, I've never heard of Marmite. I mean, I've heard of it, but never really knew what it was.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's proper savoury. I don't like sweet things very much, so...
Okay, I'm kind of into savoury actually, so maybe I will like it. Like, I'd much rather have a savoury snack than a sweet snack usually. Like pretzels, I fucking love pretzels.
I've been telling people for years that rather than give me a birthday cake or whatever, I want a birthday sausage roll.
Okay.
A really good one.
Have you seen that people are like getting like Greg's sausage rolls and like deep frying them and stuff like that? It's apparently a craze.
That was just Scotland again.
It might be. It might just be Scotland. Yeah, that is a thing. We do strange things in Scotland.
The last time I was in Scotland, admittedly a few years ago because it was for work, but before I was a teacher, and I had a deep fried battered pizza.
Oh yeah, I've had deep fried pizza in Scotland. It can either be really good or kind of average. Like, I don't think it's a strange one because like the batter can kind of be over. You know, like you can almost just taste batter and no pizza.
I've had a battered Mars bar a few times. That's like
actually
wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I had was a battered cheeseburger. Not a burger, actually the cheeseburger in the bun with the salad, and they just like battered it and dropped it in the hot fat.
Yeah, I had that as well. I expected them. I've had it before where they would do like the burger, the cheese, the burger, and then batter that part of it, and then put that in a bun, because that's actually pretty good. But I've also had it where they've put the entire, like they've taken the Big Mac basically and battered it and put it in.
That's what this was. And
baked beans on pizza, says Camille. I actually wonder if there's any Americans in the channel, because there's always Americans that watch us.
Well, we've got Reziel, haven't we?
I was going to say, are there any Americans in here that haven't had like proper baked beans on toast? Because that is something that
they have that weird thing that they have the beans without the sauce.
No.
And they put ketchup on it.
I think you must have had beans on toast, right?
I've had beans on toast, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like beans on toast?
But like in America, I swear they don't have it. They have it like with ketchup.
So Sean has never had it. David has never had it. Oh, I'm gonna have to make a video then. I'm gonna have to make a video where we just do beans on toast.
Yeah, my knowledge of this is like from Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, which I know is not that contemporary as literature goes. And he's talking about his beans with tomato sauce on them there. but I'm sure they don't do like a tin of Heinz beans.
Yeah, I want to just get a picture of what this is what it should look like. Can
Have you ever seen someone have liposuction on a video? It looks like that.
open image as new tab. Yes, and then let me just put this where your face was for a second, Tony. Where was this? Where was Tony? Here we go. Here we go. People are gonna see beans on toast right over the top of you, basically. Nope, they're not. I can't get it in. It's only gonna be. Do you know what? I can flip the camera this way. This is what it needs to look like, right? This is 100% what it needs to look like. See, 2 slices of white bread with toast, and then
I like a little sprinkling of grated cheese on top of that.
I was going to say you could put cheese on top of it. That is a legit thing, yeah. But that's what you want to. That's what you want to try. Have you all in the UK ever had American breakfast or Canadian even? I've had American breakfast a few times, yeah. Is it red beans on toast? No, we call that baked beans, and it comes out of the can like that. The beans in the ketchup are in the can, and in like supermarkets over here, they always have like essentially they call them like smart price, and what they are the cheap. They're what would you call them? They're basically cheap brand, like they're non-branded,
own brand kind of like ultra cheap versions of things.
Yeah, so like you can get a can of baked beans for like 13 pence, which is like 20 cents, right?
Yeah,
so
but you shouldn't.
Oh no, they're the best ones.
They're not. They're rubbish because you open it up and it's like it's all sauce, no bean.
Oh no, trust me, they're the best. The cheaper the better when it comes to baked beans, I think. During lockdown, they didn't have some of the super cheap ones, so I had to buy like premium ones, and I had them with my wife, and we're both like, nah.
Nah, I want Heinz. Heinz will go home.
Oh no, I'm not a Heinz beans fan, no way. So apparently this has got serious now. Beans, getting the right beans is important.
Yeah, it is important. What's your feeling on beans and sausages?
What do you mean beans and sausages? Just together?
Tin, don't you, with the beans and sausages in it?
Oh, I mean that's okay, but I prefer just the beans out. The with beans on toast is where I'm at.
Oh, hang on, sorry, I've got to break in here. Justin Seeley, baked beans come in a tomato sauce in the US, usually flavoured with brown sugar and bacon.
All right, I mean that actually sounds. I like brown sugar and bacon, but they
together.
They do like to put sugar in everything in America.
It's like the American breakfast things. And now I can get behind every ingredient on that. Bacon, lovely. Pancakes, lovely. Ice cream, lovely. Not on the same plate. Put them in 3 separate plates, and we've got something to talk about.
We watch that show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen the one.
And like the guy, but like every time they make chili on that show, he's like, and now we add 400 grams of brown sugar, and I was like,
it's just weird.
We have never, like in the UK, you just would never put sugar in chili. Like it's not really like a sweet dish, but
I spent quite a bit of time in Asia, and they put sugar in bread.
And I think in America they put sugar in bread as well.
Fucking disgusting. It's weird. It's like cake, right? Imagine a ham sandwich with sweet bread in it.
Well, it is what you're used to, though, right? Like, I bet you if you came up to Scotland and had haggis.
I like haggis.
Do you like haggis? Okay,
I do like haggis, yeah.
Well, then I'll make sure that I get haggis for when you come visit.
I love a bit of haggis, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big haggis fan, actually.
Battered haggis as well.
Oh yeah, battered black pudding as well. We do that.
Oh, I like battered black pudding.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. Beans on toast is something that, like, I think I've seen some American. I think there was a YouTube channel of like some guy from America trying beans on toast for the very first time, and he honestly thought it was going to be the worst thing that he'd ever eaten. And then he ate it, and he was like, his face was just priceless because he was like, "It's okay. It's not bad." Like what? Like you just couldn't fathom how This was not terrible, I guess. Beans on toast over here is a student meal, though, right? Like 13p can of beans. That's probably why I like the cheap beans, because I was a student.
I'm 36 years old and I had beans on toast for my lunch yesterday.
Nice. But it is also a student thing you can
oh yeah, definitely.
You can do on a budget, right? Beans on toast.
Yeah, definitely. I reckon I used to buy, when I was a student, I'd buy those sort of 5 kilo bags of pasta.
Okay, yeah.
So, from like an Aldi, and then you'd get like a big bag of potatoes, and I reckon I lived on potatoes, beans, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Reziel never puts any sugar in his chili, which is the correct way of doing it.
Sean has never had haggis. Well, if you ever come to Scotland, make sure you ask for haggis, because it's essentially a lot like black pudding. If you've ever had black pudding, it's maybe just a little bit spicier than black pudding, I guess I would say. Yeah. I like it.
I like it. I do love me dumplings as well, Camille. I had those for dinner today. What do you put in your tacos? We don't really have... I don't know about you, John, but do you have tacos, really?
I would have tacos. I'd put like minced beef and stuff in them and vegetables.
Tacos. You don't... I have chili quite a lot, but not with tacos.
If you... Over here, like, Mexican isn't really big, so if you're going to buy tacos, it would probably be like an old El Paso kit. And I imagine chat will probably flame us for even mentioning the brand Old El Paso. But, because we're not close to Mexico, that's what we get, right? Like, it's Old El Paso or nothing. There's no other option on the shelf.
So I eat a lot of burritos.
Oh yeah, love a burrito.
I love a chili. But we don't really get tacos over here.
Yeah, like I can't imagine there's many restaurants over here that would ever sell tacos. Like, do you know what? We recently got Taco Bell.
Did you? I've never been.
But like, it's a new thing. Like, I would say Taco Bell has only come over here in the last year and a half, and yeah, I've never been yet. The nearest one to me is like 60 miles away, but like previously there just wasn't one.
No. Yeah, but again, everything's 60 miles away for you, John. You have to drive 60 miles and have a small ferry ride to get to...
It's pronounced taco. I mean, if there's one thing you've learned, Jeff, from watching me for 2 years now, is that I don't pronounce shit right. I can't even say the people's names in chat. How am I going to say... taco? How the fuck... You say taco for me. How the fuck are you supposed to say taco?
Taco, isn't it? Yeah, taco.
Taco? I mean...
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
What else we got on here? Reziel, you can get cheap curry in the UK. Yeah, we... the most famous curry in Britain is the chicken tikka masala, and that was invented in Glasgow. We eat a lot of curry in this. I don't know about you, John, but I eat a lot of curry.
Japanese, Chinese, Indian, we have a lot of curry options, yeah.
We do. If you're going out with friends and that, it's almost invariably for a curry. Yeah, I would say that, like, in the town that I'm in, 50% of the restaurants are either Chinese, Indian, or Japanese. Thai as well, actually. We get quite a few Thai restaurants. A few of those now, yeah. There's a nice little Thai near where I live, which I'm quite fond of. We don't go out for Chinese very often because we just call it food.
Yeah, no, I Just Eat.
Yeah.
Don't know if you've got Just Eat in America, but it's basically Deliveroo for...
It's contributed significantly to my wasteland.
But yeah, I'm going to have to head off. It's like 10 past midnight. Tony, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Oh,
we've just got one last super chat just popped in.
Fried gator tail is fantastic. Also shout out to Southern Soul Food. Do you know what? I'm saving to take my kids to America. And I don't know if you count Florida as Southern, but I had some really good meals last time I was in Florida. And thank you so much for the $5. I actually had a trip. I've never had gator tail, but I actually had a trip booked to Florida right before COVID. Unfortunately, the travel insurance paid all the money back, because otherwise I would have been out like a heap of money. But yeah, I'm hoping to get back to Florida whenever it feels like it's safe. Florida is its own country. Carolina barbecue. Yeah, I mean, I guess Florida is where you go because you're a tourist, right? And I guess you're going to have kids, you want to go to Disneyland, I guess. So that's ultimately where we'll end up. But yeah, I would like to explore more of America at some point. All right. Yeah, I was just trying to say that, like, I guess I have to call it. As much as
that time. We've got to get. Well, you've got to get up in the morning for work. I get to lie in bed and just roll around thinking about the fact that I'm on holiday.
Oh, are you? So you're telling me your job's cushy?
I know. I've got to go back to work on Monday, and then it's going to be all shit again. So
then it's not cushy anymore. All right, so I actually have to get up early tomorrow compared to you. Okay, I don't feel so bad now. South of Orlando is no longer south. Florida has bugs in the sand. The further north you go in Florida, the more southern it is. Okay, yeah, so Orlando is its own ecosystem, probably. Cool. All right, tomorrow, Death Company video, so please check that out if you want to know my thoughts on Death Company going down 2 points. The video will be out about the normal time videos go out, which is about 12 hours from now. Yeah, lunchtime, 12 hours from now. And if you are not a subscriber yet on the 3 Grots and you want to see more of Tony's lovely mug, then you could search your YouTube chart. You could search on YouTube for the 3 Grots. We did put a new episode out tonight, which was like a 2-hour chat on getting started and learning how to beat Custodes. We also got one lovely comment on there. Do you want to tell us what our first comment on that video was?
That's my favourite comment of the day.
Yeah.
I'm just bring it back up again. If you're going to make a video, please do more homework. And I just want to point out that I don't do homework, I set homework.
Yeah. So,
I think we did loads of homework on that.
I thought we knew quite a bit about Custodes.
I even painted some shit. I
mean, I played against them. I learned about Custode at the end of their axes, essentially. Or their spears on the damn bikes. But cool, yeah, so back tomorrow, and then I will be back probably Saturday night painting as well, so hopefully see some of you guys.
We've got loads of Italians, Camille. Right, cheers guys.
Yeah, thanks again, Tony. I will see you guys all pretty soon. Good night.
I think I'm still on the stream, John, at the moment. Oh no, I've disappeared now.
Yeah, I don't actually think I can mute you, so and still have the music playing. So I guess we are done, and I'll probably catch you in Discord tomorrow or something. Enjoy your time off.
All right.
Appreciate you hanging out, Tony.
Have a nice evening.
Yeah, you too, man. Good night.
Cheers,